So I've been a little bit AFK from YouTube. I haven't really been going live. I haven't really been making too many videos. And the reason why is because I'm working on the Nexus. The Nexus is my trading network, which in my opinion is the #1 trading network in the world by far. By the way, a lot of these other creators say that they got the best community, but they don't got shit on us. And I'm going to show you why that is the case in this video. First of all, included in your memberships is the Nexus course, access to my analysis, access to my live positions, what I'm doing all the time, my live streams every morning, and my real-time updates, which can get up to like 20 to 25 updates per day. Because of course, the market gives you data in real time and, you know, things change all the time. Now, I want to talk about why the Nexus prevails all. First of all, I teach you everything that I know in the Nexus trading course. My objective is to get you to where I'm at faster and cheaper than I got there. I was 50K in the hole before I even became break even. Okay. And in today's video, I want to show you one of the setups that the Nexus took last week. We took a 50 risk to reward Cardano trade, and it wasn't even found by me. Today, I want to introduce you to Dominic, who has been trading since November of last year. That's right. He's been trading for 7 months, and he's been in the Nexus since March 15th. Guys, I want to show you what's possible in this realm of trading if you put your mind to it. Now, let me just say, Dominic's results are not indicative of everyone else's results, okay? So just because I'm saying this happened for Dominic right now, that doesn't mean it's going to happen to you if you join, but I want to show you what's possible if you put your mind to it. Dominic right now gave us a 50 risk reward trade last week, which that trade is currently still open. He hit his highest P&L ever of $1,600 on that Cardano short, and he's only been in the Nexus since March 15th. He's been with me for 3 months, and he's been able to find us this trade, and I'm going to show you that he's the one that gave us the trade. It wasn't even me. Now, I told you I've been working on the Nexus. Part of the reason why the Nexus is the greatest trading network is because it is a network. It's not just about me. When we rebranded from Trade with Geo to the Nexus, I made it control your narrative, not control my narrative. And I always tell you guys to judge me based on the results of the Nexus, not on my results, because who cares about me? It's not about me. It's about you. And if you're looking for a network that's actually going to be there for you the way that you're going to see in this video, then consider joining. That's the last time I shill it. But let me tell you what we're doing, okay? So I teach you everything that I know. And then at the end, if you don't need to be in the Nexus, which many don't anymore, you can choose to leave, you could choose to stay. That's up to you. But what I'm working on is building up advanced traders. Dominic is an advanced trader. We have a role, which is at Nexus Trade, which you can get alerts for, and you're going to see what these kind of trades entail. Okay, so you know when to get notified by them. And the network is looking for trades. Now, you might say that's selfish because I'm benefiting off of it. Absolutely, I am. That's the elephant in the room, 100%. I'm building up traders, and those traders are calling out trades. It's not just me. You're not just relying on me. Now, I'm always available, okay? I find it funny how these other communities, their leaders are never to be found at the times that are most important. I'm in here 24/7, but I can't watch every single coin, and I want to show you what's possible. So Dominic identified this trade all by himself, and I want to say this as well. I added recently a certified emoji. So when I see other advanced traders posting their setups, if I see it and it looks good, I will pop in and certify it, okay? Because we're all learning the same thing. We're all learning how to trade, and we all know what to look for. Other traders can pop in and certify this bitch, okay? So that's what's going on right now. And I want to go over this 50 risk to reward trade. This is just an example of what you get. So one of my roles that you can react to and get the alerts for are Nexus real-time roles. So Dominic had this 50 risk reward Cardano short idea. I actually already had this idea on the side, okay? But I asked him, I'm like, Dom, do you want to let everybody know, or do you want me to let everybody know? I was already behind it before he posted it. I was already on top of it. But since he sent it to me and he's like, yo, check this out. Listen, I let him have it because the network is not about me. The Nexus is not about me. It is control your narrative, not control my narrative, okay? So I let him have it, right? After he posted the setup and gave the Nexus trade rule, I frequently do this. I don't tell you guys exactly when I'm going in. I don't say I'm going in, put the stop loss here. I don't do that. But what I do is something similar to this, where I say it either works or it doesn't. And before it happens, I will draw it out. Okay, I'll say this is exactly what I'm looking for. This is the close that I'm looking at. Like, I basically hold your hand for it. It's not meant to be hand holding, but everyone kind of understands what I'm looking for. And because I teach you how to enter and what we're looking for in the trading course, it is expected of you, like it was expected of Dominic, to know how to actually enter these positions. So it's not uncommon for me to actually post something like this where I'll put at Nexus real time. This either works or it doesn't. And that's basically me saying, I entered, my stop is either here or here, which is completely up to you. Again, something that I teach in the course and so forth. So let's go over this Cardano trade, okay? Because it is a 50 risk to reward trade. Now, we're not done the trade idea yet. It's still in play and it might not play out, but we're gonna go over how we found this trade and what we're looking for, okay? So let's zoom out on Cardano. We're gonna get a little bit technical in this video, but let me just say, if you don't understand anything that I say in this video, again, in the course, it's all illustrated there for you, okay? So let's just make it simple. Something that I always say is when in doubt, structure out, okay? When in doubt, structure out. I say that all the time. What is your structure on Cardano? And let's keep it super simple. Let's just pull it from the high. You have high, you have low. You have lower high. Somewhere along the line, you could go lower high, lower low, doesn't matter, or you could just go low. I think it is undeniable that within this leg, this is a downtrend, okay? Nobody can deny that this is a downtrend, and nobody can deny that this high up here is, in fact, an important pivot point, okay? You can see it looks like good structure, or a new term that I created as of late, something called Swift structure. This is a high time frame swing level point that is undeniable, where, yeah, you have structure like here going up and down, blah, 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 but it's not what I call Swift structure, okay? This is a very important level. We are in a downtrend on a high time frame. That is important, okay? Fine. We know that. Now, if you've been on Twitter, you know that I've been saying, and even on the last couple of YouTube videos, I've been saying that I don't think the low across the board is in until Cardano touches 50 cents. The reason why is we have one low here, then you came all the way back down to that low without sweeping that low back in April, and then we came all the way back down again without sweeping that low back in June. And if you know anything about accumulations, if you've been around the channel, when I say this is what happens when you don't properly accumulate, it's basically what's happening with Cardano as well. When this is going on and we have 3 taps on the low, what most people think is a triple bottom, we look at it as liquidity, and it is 3 times the reason to come and try to attack that liquidity, which is why I've been saying I don't think that the low is in until Cardano hits 50 cents. Fine. Let's forget about that for just a moment. Let's just look objectively as to what's going on around us right now. Again, we know we are in a higher time frame downtrend. We know that the trend is your friend until the end, as they say, and we know that we are looking for a lower high, lower low. So how can we interpret what happened here on Cardano, and how did Dominic find this trade? We're going to even dumb it down and keep it more simple than that. Of course, it's important to understand the context, but you don't really need to know that if you are not going to be shooting for very extensive targets. Remember, this is a 50 risk to reward swing trade that started off as a scalp trade and was given like a 0.015 stop loss. So this is the way that we get down in the Nexus, okay? We don't always get every trade, but the ones that we do are a very big risk to reward. And by the way, we don't always get 50 risk to rewards either, and I don't even know if it's going to play out, okay? Like I said, we'll get there in just a moment. But let's just look at what's happening right in front of our face, okay? Forget everything else for just a moment. Let's talk about what's just right in front of our face. Right now, because your structure on the high time frame is just, you know, high, low, lower high, lower low, that doesn't really serve us any good, right? Because there's no structure in between, and we're not only swing trading. Like, we are taking scalps. We understand that certain scalps may turn into swing trades, but we're not just swing trading, right? So that doesn't really serve us any good. The structure that does serve us good is from the low here. You have low, you have high, you have higher low, you have higher high, you have higher, oh, actually the higher low's here. You have higher low, and then you have higher high, okay? So this is the important structure. Now, one of the more recent modules, or one of the more recent lessons that I released in my ranges module is something called range SFPs, okay? Range SFPs. In other words, range SFPs are also PO3s. If you've been around the channel, you've heard me probably hammer PO3s to a pulp to you guys, because they do PO3s literally all the time. We already know that we have our eye on 0.504 Cardano because of those 3 equal lows. Now, again, doesn't mean we're going to make it there, but we have our eye there. That is a targeted level, regardless of whether they go for it or not. That's a targeted level, and it's up to us to look for the clues that we are going to go to that level. So what happens here is we come up, we sweep all of this buy side liquidity, and then we form what I call a range SFP slash PO3. Your PO3 will look like this, where this is your range, this is your manipulation. It's not a perfect PO3, and this would be your expansion to the downside, okay? It is essentially, long story short, all a PO3 is this was a previous resistance, right, or a top, and they induce you into thinking that the low is in, right? They induce you into thinking that this new resistance is holding as support and that we're going to go higher. It is a trap. And the first way to look for this trap is to look for liquidity. So if you don't properly accumulate in this range, which we did not properly accumulate in this range, there is always the possibility, the chance for a bearish PO3. So how did Dominic find this position? Let's jump down on a smaller term time frame and let's investigate this price action here, okay? Something I always say in the Nexus is when in doubt, structure out. We know that this line is a very important level because we are ranging on that line. We know that that is our doorway to a bearish PO3, and we know that we're looking for a range SFP. So what happens in this example? Remember, we are simply just ranging. So let's structure out like I always preach in the Nexus. You have low, you have high, you have higher low, you have higher high. And this was the clue. You have higher low, higher high SFP, and then lower low and break. This was your structure. What this is telling me off the hop is that any pullback I get into this general zone, without getting too complicated with it, I'm looking for shorts to expect to come and take out this low because your new structure is lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. We're looking for that pullback. And in fact, we actually had 2 breaks. This is why we were very confident in this trade. We actually had 2 breaks without sweeping these lows just yet. And remember, we are dancing on the line of a bearish PO3, a real potential to come down and hit that 50-cent level. So what happened after we got that second break? We're still looking for lower high, lower low, because as they say, the trend is your friend until the end of your trend, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Now, volatility has been very, very low. It's been abysmal. But because of the volatility being very low, you get price action like this, okay? And this is the stuff that they do all the time, guys. They leave this liquidity all the time. In other words, they are inducing you into thinking that maybe this trend line is going to hold or that we're not going to go lower, blah, 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 whatever, okay? So let's go over how we found this trade. Now, this box right here is a POI, okay? It was an order block. Again, something that I teach you in the Nexus course. You know how to identify them. You know where to look for them. This is something that was easily identified. Once we get into that zone, we are looking for signs for that zone to hold, okay? And what are we going to do? We're going to just structure out. Like I always say, when in doubt, structure out. So this here is a good example of what I don't consider swift structure, right? I need to see big swing points. I don't want to see like here count is this structure up down, like I don't want to see any. This is not structure to me. None of that is structure. The only time when it became swift structure was actually when we came into the zone, okay? And you can see we have high, we have low, we have higher high, and then we have low and we have break. Now the way that I trade is when you do get that break, that is called your confirmation. This to me is confirming that the box, your zone, your bearish order block in this case, is going to hold, okay? It's not saying that the high is going to hold. You don't go stop loss above the high. That this block is going to hold. So after we had that break, we are now going to investigate this low to the next high and look for another market structure flip on a smaller term time frame, perhaps a 1 minute or a 2 minute market structure flip. We are looking for what is called reconfirmation. In this case, we never got it, okay? We didn't get that reconfirmation. We know we're in an aggressive like local bull trend, right? Because you have all this liquidity. Now we're not longing this. It's impossible for me to long here, but I'm looking for that reconfirmation. If I don't see it, I don't take the trade. What ends up happening is we end up taking the high again. That's okay. That happens sometimes. And then this is the moment where we actually got that reconfirmation right here. So no different than I showed you in my update right here when I told everybody in the Nexus that this is it, okay? If like, this is either going to be your high or it's not going to be your high. And what ended up happening was price came up one more time to sweep out the high one more time, finally giving you that confirmation right here. That's the first time that I told the Nexus that I basically entered the trade. And as you can see, like I said, 0.33% stop loss. And where are we targeting to? we're targeting down to 50 cents. Now that is an excessive target, okay? 0.5 risk to reward, or sorry, 50 risk to reward is no joke. That's a very uncommon thing. I don't even think I've ever hit a 50 risk to reward for that matter. However, I need you to understand that whether they go for it or not, it makes sense. Why does it make sense? And I'll tell you exactly. What is your structure? When in doubt, structure out. You have low, you have high, you have higher low, and you have higher high, as we've previously discussed. Now, this range SFP is what it sounds like. It is either an SFP or it's a PO3. Either or, your target is the low of the previous range, which is this low right here. So regardless, based on my structure up here, my target is 0.53%. Now, the difference between 0.53 and 0.5 is there is no difference. There's nothing that can hold price up from this high to this low. So the logic is, if we were to come down to 0.53, which is your target based on this SFP, you are very likely going to come down to 0.5, which is your overall higher time frame liquidity target, in my opinion. Okay, because there's nothing else between this low and this low right over here. And that's why we're shooting for that. Now, is that an overshot? Of course, 100%. If we fast forward our candles here, first of all, your TP1 has to be this low. So let's pretend we're going to just close the trade in full, okay? With a 0.33 stop loss on a shitcoin, sorry, ADA enthusiasts, you already had a 7.5 risk to reward trade. You already made 7% of your account on one trade because we're risking 1% per trade. However, we know that these lows are very likely to go. What are the odds that price just comes down, hits this, doesn't take out this low, and then goes higher? Very, very slim. So obviously, if you pull it down to this low, it's a 9 risk to reward. And let's fast forward and let's actually see where price went. The next stopping point, I can already tell you by eye, would be somewhere here. Let's go forward and let's just see where, and of course, you're TPing along the way, okay? I need everybody to understand this. Just because we have targets like this, okay? I'm not married to these targets. I'm not saying, all right, well, I'm up 19 risk to reward right now, okay? I'm up 19 risk factors. I'm not going to take profit because I'm stubborn and I want 50 risk to reward. That's not what we do, okay? First of all, there are many ways to enter trades. There's no such thing as missing a trade. We don't miss trades. Once you know how to enter trades, you can get in from anywhere. So absolutely not. We do not miss trades, okay? You get in on reconfirmations and I teach you how to do all that, right? But this is a win. There's no way in the Nexus anyone's losing this trade already. And I give those updates all the time, right? I say, guys, this is an NNTP, which is an abbreviation I created, non-negotiable take profit. And the reason it's non-negotiable is because these targets are not always going to get hit, especially on a 50 risk reward trade. It has the possibility of going to 50 cents. It makes sense for it to go to 50 cents, but is it going to go to 50 cents with 100% conviction? Well, absolutely not. Nothing is with conviction, right? Nothing's ever 100% in trading, and we understand that. So in this case, we bounced off of this demand zone, and then, you can already see my drawings. Let's fast forward a little bit. You can already see my drawings here, and you can see, we've been building up liquidity so far and so forth. We have what appears to be a reconfirmation. Remember how I just said you take profit? We have what appears to be a Model 1 distribution as a reconfirmation coming back into this already distribution, right? This was a Model 2 distribution. You broke down, effectively confirming a structure break. You're looking for lower high, lower low. You have all this liquidity below. No different than they've been doing, man. No different than they've been. You have all this liquidity below. And then now you're getting what appears to be, not is with 100% certainty, what appears to be a Model 1 distribution. So there is another follow-up trade that I took this morning, and I am in this short position, and I have taken profit. And if price takes me out, then no problem. Price takes me out. But this is how we entered a reconfirmation trade on the same idea. And I'll tell you what, guys, especially with swing trades, because they take a lot of time, oftentimes we get multiple trades, multiple entries on the exact same trade, okay? On the same trade idea, let me just say. So, you take profit here, you look to get in again, and then you get in again when you see the same confirmation, something similar to what we saw here. There are many different things to look for. I teach you all of them. And, this one was given by Dom, and Dom did an amazing job, and he's quitting his job. He's literally quitting his job to trade full time. And he started 3 months ago. Now, again, not everything that you're hearing right now is going to happen to you if you join. but I just want to show you what is possible. And the most important thing that I cannot stress enough is that these trades make sense. Guys, my win rate is not, 80% or something crazy like that. But one of my strong suits is that I'm able to understand what the market is doing. I'm able to build the narrative as to what's happening across the board. And I just use common sense. I've talked about this on the channel before, but I use logic. And logic means that I can get in on a 0.33 risk to reward trade, something like what Dominic found for the Nexus, okay, and take it down a substantial amount. And that's the way that we operate. We are not here to just throw shit on the wall and see what sticks. We are here to rob the bank. And I'll tell you what, we do not rob the bank at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday when it's armed and the building is full. We wait for the perfect time and we attack. And when we attack hard. And that is exactly what you see in this video. So this is a huge shout out to Dominic. And I hope, I'm not Nexus. I'm not just talking to you guys. But you guys already know how much I've been putting him up on a pedestal. But everybody else, I hope that Dominic's story can inspire you, okay? Whether it's with the Nexus or not, it's not about me, okay? If you want to join, I'm happy to serve you. I'm happy to hopefully have you be the next Dominic. Dominic's doing a wonderful job. But truly, I mean this, whether it's with the Nexus or not with the Nexus, my system or not my system, there are many different ways to trade. But I really hope that whether you're struggling or whether you're successful or whether you're somewhere in between, I hope that you make it to your full potential, okay? It's very possible if you just put your brain to it. And I know sometimes it can be discouraging. Sometimes I have bad streaks. Sometimes I'm losing confidence. And man, the market gives you, this is what it does. There's different seasons to it, right? There are easy moments. There are hard moments. Right now, volatility is extremely low. So, you can have an idea and then it takes way longer than you think and you get messed up and whatever. Anyways, now I'm rambling, but I truly hope that you unlock your full potential. And again, whether you're struggling or you're successful or you're not, or somewhere in between or whatever the case is, I believe in you. I believe in you because it took me a long time to get here and it obviously wasn't easy. Let me make my face big. It obviously wasn't easy and it's not supposed to be easy, but it's possible. And I think that's the important thing to take from this video, okay? This was kind of a technical video, okay? A little bit advanced. But it's possible, guys. It's possible. People do this for real. And like I said, don't judge me based on me. Judge me based on the Nexus. Judge me based on the network, our network, and the results that are shown in the network. And by the way, Dominic is just one of many advanced traders, and we're working to get more and more every day. And we do streams every day, and I do practicing the game streams, and we do back testing, and I answer questions. And, the rest is history. So big shouts out to Dominic, big shouts out to the Nexus, and big shouts out to you because, again, whether you're with me or not, I believe in you, even if you don't believe in you. Guys, that's it for this video. If you like the content, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.